you fucking asshole, I'm actually doing something, and I don't care how I'm doing it. There's good intentions involved, and I can tweak it as I go along. But that kind of attitude is the reason why people don't go and do good things.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know you're not.
Hello, everyone. This is Mike, and this is the dailyBred podcast where I come to you from a couch and I talk about things. And sometimes I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but today I actually have a subject that I'm going to talk about. I think I've mentioned this a few times in other episodes, but this is going to be specifically about giving back because a friend Beth was in town this weekend, and on Sunday I was like, "Hey, I have a normal routine in the morning to go grocery shopping and do things. You're going to come with me?" And she was like, "Cool." And so we drove around and we pull up to this Walgreens, and she's like, "What are we doing here?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go just buy some stuff." And I basically just as we walk inside, and I was just like, "Yeah, a couple years ago, actually no, a year or so ago, um, I was doing this challenge, which I talked about in this podcast, where I was walking 2 miles a day, and I saw this little cubby, this little food cubby, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Like you could just drop food off there." And I was like, well, I can't do it. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. I'll eventually do that. I should totally do that. That'd be cool. And I took a look in it, and it was just like fucking people just like leaving like white beans, like cans of white beans or cans of like green beans or just like really lame shit. And I thought it would be kind of cool, I think, to just leave fun things because, some people are going to leave. There was healthier stuff there. Like people were leaving, I mean, I wouldn't say pasta's healthy, but people were leaving things that they could cook, like anyone who needed anyone who needed food. And I thought what would be cool, or how cool would it be if they had like just fun snack things and, mix with other stuff like soups or things like that. And so I thought about it, and then there's like this balance of, well, not balance of, there's like this, I think I could say that people do this, and I would say that people listening would agree with me, but there's kind of like a blanketed statement. But analysis paralysis is a real thing, where basically you kind of overthink something until you just don't move on it, and then it just goes away, and like you think about it, like, oh, I would do that, and then you just don't do it because you're like, yeah, but I have to do it this way, and it has to be certain rules to it. And one thing that kept me kind of stagnant for a while in my business was I kept reading all these success books about people talking about how you have to like they give back, or you read these biographies of businesses or business owners. They always found some way to give back with the business, or the business is giving back. That's the whole mission. And for years, I really struggled with trying to figure out how I could do that with my animation company, Drive80, drive80.com. And it was like literally years. And I thought that if I didn't connect giving back to the mission of the company, I was doing something wrong. And then I think last year, I know I've talked about this stuff before, but the beginning of last year, I was just like, you know what, man, let me have not like a real conversation, but like, let me just really think of what I want to do. Like, what do I really want? Do I really want to give back through the company, or what do I want the company to do? I was like, I want the company to make fucking money. Like, I want to make fucking money. A shitload of fucking money. And when I thought about that and I said it felt right. And I was like, yes, let me stop bullshitting myself. I'm not doing this business as a fucking charity. This is purely for me to make fucking money. However, there's small things you can do outside of a business where I can give back in some way. And when you think about like, oh, my company has to be set up this way, and I have to be giving back in a certain way, or it has to be a certain dollar amount. Like I have to be creating a nonprofit division of it or something where you have to make millions of dollars every year or donate millions of dollars. And I think that it's good to think that, and it's cool if you can do that, but it's stupid to waste time if you could do something right now. And that's the one thing I've really tried to do personally is if I think of something, I'm always like, what's the fastest way I can do this shit right now? Or like do one thing right now. It's like this podcast. This podcast is me sitting here just on my couch with a headset on. I'm recording it through QuickTime, and then I edit it in Premiere and I upload it to a podcast service. Like, sure, would it be more interesting if I like did a video, kind of like Chris D'Elia or Bobby Lee or like any of these podcasts or video. I mean, there's millions of them out there, but like vloggers, right? And I'm just saying that because I have YouTube up in front of me, and their like thumbnails are in front of me, and like that's more interesting. But then I have to buy the equipment, I have to do the lighting. So even like right there, I start going, it's just too much, too much. And it's like, what's the simplest thing I could do? So when I thought about doing this podcast, it's like, well, I have my computer, I have my headset. I don't really know what to talk about, but I do know how to upload it, and I know the service I can upload it to. I know all these things. Let me just start talking and just get it going. And here we are. And like my other podcast that I do is about like the late 90s punk scene. It's called This Was the Scene, if you want to check it out. And I wanted to do a documentary about the Jersey punk scene in the late 90s, and I thought I'd have to have so much money to do that. So what's the fastest thing I could possibly do? And it was, maybe I'll do a podcast because I can have that launched by the next week. This is what I thought 3.5 years ago, and it's been going strong ever since then. So with the food thing, I thought, well, okay, well, I think when sometimes people see like a donate button and they feel bad if it's only like $5, they're like, well, I should do 20, but then like, well, I don't really want to, I don't really want to spend $20 or give $20. So then you think about it and you don't do it, or you think like, well, if I'm really going to donate and help, it should be like in the thousands. It should be a big time purchase or donation. And I was like, that's silly. Like I should just go and spend a little bit of money, even if it's like $20, $30, $40, and what's something I'm aligned with? I was like, well, I think everyone should eat. I don't think anyone should starve. I think giving money directly to people, sometimes it's like cool, and then sometimes it's like, I don't know, it's a weird transaction to me because I'd rather like getting money. I think you could get that on your own. You should be able to make money. I think everyone has the ability to make money. But to eat, that's another story. And I think that like no one should fucking starve. And so like one Sunday I was doing my grocery shopping and I just grabbed some fun things. Like I grabbed like macaroni and cheese and like Pringles and Cheez-Its and then like soups and like some fruit. And I just drove over there. It was so weird because I was like nervous. Because it's like, I don't know. I don't know why I was nervous. I was like pulling up there thinking like, oh, it's like that Seinfeld episode where he's like, I'm a good person. And you think to yourself like, wow, this is really a nice thing that I'm doing. And then you second guess that and you go, oh, that's just your ego talking. Don't be egotistical. But maybe people are going to look at you and think you're doing this for yourself. And all of this shit went through my head. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, the sole purpose of this is to get people food. So I can think whatever I want to, or I feel bad or feel weird about something. But I need to push through that because on the other side of that, the goal is to get food in this box. That's it. I don't care how I do it. It's like I just need to get the food that I bought for these people in this food box. And so I did it and just like dropped off this. Oh, my timer went off. So I dropped off this stash of stuff, and then it just became routine. So every single Sunday, I go and I was like, well, let me, because I was in the beginning I was going to like Harris Teeter, which is a grocery store, and I couldn't. I was figuring it out, and then what I landed on was Walgreens. Was for some reason it was right by Harris Teeter, and it was just easy to get in there and get it, and also separate it from like have my own separate bag for groceries, so it wasn't mixing in. So I have to like go pull up and like pull all this stuff out separately. It was like, okay, this is a separate bag. Just was super easy. And so yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I told it to Beth when we were in there, and I was like each week I do different things where I always grab like a loaf of bread, peanut butter. In the wintertime, it's mostly hot stuff like soup, and then I'll do like fun things. And I know some of this stuff isn't healthy, but at the same time, I'm thinking more of, sure, I could do vegetables and fruit and things like that. And one time I was buying a bag of stuff at like Trader Joe's, and this woman, like I was getting stuff, and then I had my food separate, and she was like, "Oh, that's a big difference." And she was kind of like guilting me because I wasn't buying like just vegetables and meat and fruit. And I was like, well, this shit has to sit outside in the sun, so it has to be like in a can or a box or something. So it has to be able to sit there for a while. And she was kind of guilting me. I was like, you know what, you fucking asshole. I'm actually doing something, and I don't care how I'm doing it. There's good intentions involved, and I can tweak it as I go along. But that kind of attitude is the reason why people don't go and do good things, because someone else has a fucking opinion about how it has to be done, and that just makes people stop, and that's fucking ridiculous. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to listen to your stupid comment, you fucking asshole, and I'm going to just do what I do. I'm not going to stop, because a lot of times too, I'm sure anyone listening to this is when you have this idea that you like and someone says something negative about it, you second guess it and you stop doing it. And I was like, I'm not going to let that stop, because the mission of this idea is to get people to give people food. And so I've been doing it nonstop. So I told that to Beth, and she was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome. You should talk about this in your podcast, and because maybe someone out there will get motivated to do the same thing." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, it goes back to my mission. If my mission is to get people food, then this is something that could also align with that. Because if I'm one person doing this, so if someone listening to this, they go and do it, and like just all you gotta do is just find a food box or a local food pantry or something, and just go buy, like spend $20, and it could be like once a month. It could be once, every 3 months. It could be once a week, like I'm doing, and just go out, go to a grocery store, go to wherever, buy a couple things, and go and drop it off. And trust me, you just get that. It's what is it? It's like things in motion stay in motion. Things that are stand still, stay still, or whatever that whatever that saying is. It's like you have to kind of create the inertia, and you have to get the boulder moving a little bit, because then it'll start rolling. It's like you got to push it a little bit before it starts rolling down the hill at full speed. And so I'm sure if you've been thinking about something, or like thinking about helping out, you just go do it. It's just find something that you aligns with you. Maybe it's money. Maybe you want to donate money. Just go on a website, someplace local. I mean, I like doing local because I can see the results. If it's somewhere in the world, it's just, I mean, everyone wants to save some impoverished country, which is great, but you should also go outside and pick up trash outside of your front door, or in a 1 block radius of where you live. And I'm thinking, I live in the city, so that's what I'm thinking of. But even in your neighborhood, people don't even take the time to do that. So how the fuck are you going to save a country? You can't even pick up a piece of plastic off the ground or something. So it's like, just do the little bit you can now, and then eventually, if you could do the big things, great. But maybe over time, if you're just doing all the little things, it's going to add up, and that's, potentially makes a difference, and it also inspires other people to do it, because everyone sits back and they're like, oh, well, that person's going to do it. That someone has a job for it, and they're going to do it, so I don't have to do that. And plus maybe you don't want to touch shit that's like sitting on the ground. It's garbage. But my thing is food. Like, my thing is getting people like something like food. And it's also about, like, I wanted someone to look in this box and be like, oh my God, fucking Oreos, and make their day. Or like Kraft macaroni and cheese, or like a box of pasta, or like a pasta sauce. Or even Beth was like, yeah, I forget, I think it was her mom. I think it was her mom who worked for a nonprofit, and she said that the stuff that really goes out of food pantries are cake batters and cookie like baked things, things that help you, things that people can bake. And I forget what the reason was. I think it was just because it's fun, or I mean, who the fuck doesn't want a cake? Oh, I think it was because there was like birthday parties and they they can't afford, like some people can't afford like gifts and things like that, or they're like throwing parties or things like that. So it's like I got cake mix and I got brownie mix. And so like the things I'll buy are, like I said, bread, peanut butter, soup, soup in a can, or like the smaller chicken noodle soups by Campbell's, cereal, Pop Tarts, oatmeal. Um, what I do? Like refried beans the other day in a can, Kraft macaroni and cheese, Oreos, Pringles, like mini, and I do like mini cans, so multiple people can come up and take one, and like a single, and not take the whole thing. So like everyone can hopefully leave some for someone else. What else? Cheese, like mini boxes of Cheez-Its. Um, like just anything that just seems fun, like kind of a mixture of fun, but also, I mean, Kraft macaroni and cheese isn't healthy, and I'm sure there's a shit ton of sodium in Campbell's soup, but it also, again, it has to sit in a box that's in the sun until someone picks it up. And so that's like what I do for now. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll progress, and I'll find some place where I could bring vegetables to and leave them. But you know, I'm not gonna rework what I'm doing until there's is necessary. So. So that's it. So you should find, if you want to, I highly recommend it. Just spend a little bit of money here and there and find out what your thing is. Mine is getting people to eat. Maybe yours is donating money. Maybe it's donating time. I don't really like donating my time to shit. Like I don't think I would want to work in a soup kitchen, and I don't really want to go and I don't know. I don't really want to physically go and do something. I just know that about myself. I just don't want to spend my time doing that. So I go food route and drop it off and it's done. That's it. So maybe just find the thing that you want to do. And I will leave you with that. So if you feel like a friend out there would benefit from this, go and tell them about this episode and have them listen to it, or have them listen to it, and or just go say, hey, listen to this thing. I was inspired. I want to go and do this thing, or you should go do this thing too. Or I think typically what inspires people to do something is you just go do it, and then they just get inspired by your actions and not by telling people to do something. I think that's why the majority of people hate social media, because people are constantly like you, even though kind of right now I'm kind of doing it. I'm suggesting if you want to, you should do it. I'm just going to keep doing my shit and keep doing it either way. So, yeah. So that's all I got to say. Goodbye.